Hi, this is Superintendent Don Vanderholm, and you've probably heard by now that our school boards approved a new matrix for our stages of reopening, bringing students back on campus. Today, I'd just like to share with you that plan firsthand and provide you with a few updates. These adjustments have been made for the purpose of developing a phased-in return to on-campus learning matrix. This Matrix B is a more progressive yet cautious method of returning students to on-campus learning while still engaging in full prevention measures to limit the spread of COVID-19 in our schools and communities. So this first stage 2.5, in this one all students have the opportunity to participate on a limited basis in on-campus learning, 2 hours a day, 2 times weekly, in cohort groups of 5 or less. And cohorts, we mean that students will not be mixing groups during the day. Now this has 2 phases, phase 1 and phase 2. We're already in phase 1. We'll have 2.5 with our K-5 here. They're just started their second week. Phase 2 will begin next week with grades 6 through 12. And then 2 weeks after that, assuming that we remain COVID-free here on campuses, and while the metrics are still greater than 75, we will move on to stage 3. And all K-5 students will then be participating in a hybrid AB mode. And that's half of the students here on one day, half on the other day. While 6-12 will continue in the modified AB 2 hour a day, 2 times a week schedule. Assuming that we continue for 2 more weeks with no on-campus COVID confirmed cases, everyone will move to stage 3.5. And 3.5, K-5 remains in the hybrid AB, while 6-12 begins the hybrid AB schedule for another 2 weeks. And stage 4, 2 weeks after that, again with no on-campus confirmed COVID cases, all K-5 will participate in a full-time on-campus learning schedule, with grades 6 through 12 participating in a hybrid AB mode. I should say that on stage 3 schedule, the day will run from 9 to 3 p.m. to accommodate the 6-12 2 hours a day, 2 times a week schedule. And once we get to stage 3.5, we'd be at 8:30 to 3:15. Students may still choose to remain in remote learning mode, or they may choose to have a customized distance learning model that fits them. Option A is tied to county local metrics. You do not see it here. That's still in the back-to-school plan. And on-campus learning options can proceed at any time according to option A should the COVID case metrics, those numbers, become lower. This modified option B really has to be governed by full compliance with all the health and safety guidelines. As I've been saying, any on-campus confirmed cases will pause grade bands from moving to the next progression, could possibly even require a return to the previous stage. Well, I hope that doesn't happen. This is put in place because we're still operating in local metrics that are over 200 cases per 100,000. But like I said, that's been lowering. We were at 218 this week, so we're just going to hope that keeps coming down. But it still puts us well over the 75 per 100,000 rate. We need to adjust our transportation as we phase in these different stages, and so look for, as things change, more communication from schools and drivers on routes and route times. We also continue to operate under the USDA waiver, which is great for providing meals to our families, and we still encourage you to sign up for free and reduced if you have not done so. There's also a plan to change the delivery schedules. As our drivers are taking on more student routes, we need to pull them back away from delivering meals, so there's some changes coming there. Now just a little bit about some health updates and guidelines. I want to talk about Adams County Health adjusted COVID-like illness guidance, talk about some just general health metrics and the assumption of risk that goes with those, and then just provide you with an information resource. So this just out this week as we're looking at students or staff with COVID-like symptoms. You can see on the left here, these are the symptoms that we've been looking at all along in your health screening attestations. Those are now broken into 2 categories of the more specific symptoms to COVID and the less specific symptoms to COVID. And it's these less specific ones that I want to talk about we've seen some changes in. So if you look over to the right, if you have 1 or 2, but not more than 2 of these symptoms, and you've had no known exposure to someone with COVID-19, you still can't go to school. However, if those symptoms resolve, or once they resolve, or if the COVID test is negative, you stay home until 24 hours after your fever or symptoms resolve or improve, and then you can come back to school. So that was really good news to hear this week. There is an assumption of risk as we are operating well over the greater than 75 per 100,000 level, but still even over the 200 rate. So I just have a couple of highlights here from our county health director and health department, reminding us that regardless of the indicators we choose, the higher number of students and staff that interact on campuses and the longer that they're together, the higher the risk of spreading this virus around to people. So while we're operating with our communities especially above this 200 rate, but even above the 75, we just want to make sure we're cautious and aware of that. And there was just an emphasis this week to remind us that anyone who is a close contact, and that would be 6 feet or less for 15 minutes or longer, would be required to quarantine for 14 days regardless of their own test results. We were reminded that that is the health director's decision to decide if we have an outbreak on campus and our campuses would need to be shut down, or a classroom, and that will likely occur in 14-day segments before we're allowed to return to in-person activity. It's important, of course, that we keep using our face coverings and distancing, and one change we heard this week was in our outdoor settings, and that included PE and recess unless there's an assurance that there's 6 feet or more space is maintained between students and staff. This is provided through Spokane Regional Health Districts. However, it is available to our families in Adams County Health as well. So if you have any questions related to COVID, you can call this number. We'll make sure this gets posted to our district website. Those are my updates and information I wanted to share today. And as always, if you have any questions, please contact myself or any of our schools. Thanks and have a great day.